Hi, I'm Randy Altman. We're here at SIGGRAPH 2019. This is Nick Epstein from Weta. He was visual effects supervisor on Alita, which came out when?
Fairly recently, right? I mean, it was we started this a long time ago, so I'm not quite sure of the time gap, but I think it's just come out on digital, yeah, which is the more recent. I think the actual release date was February.
Okay, and you worked on this for a year and a half,
Yep.
and over that time, technology must change minute to minute. Maybe you could just talk a little bit about some of the performance capture stuff, and then some of the other things that you feel are important for people to learn about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you're right. Things change extremely fast in this space, and I think that's never been more true than today. So yeah, starting this a couple of years ago, we still made some pretty big advances at the beginning of this show compared to previous shows like Apes or BFG, for example. And probably the most important is the digital actor puppet. And this is like a full resolution version of your actor. So we build up a full digital version of Rosa. And we really do that to ensure that we're really capturing Rosa's performance correctly before we have to deal with anything to do with retargeting over to Alita. Now, Alita's like a sort of slightly stylized, mangified version of Rosa, so it's very important for us to separate those two problem spaces. So yeah, that's sort of the big thing for us, which if you think about Gollum, Neytiri, and Caesar, for example, they were all direct character captures. So we would capture the actor, review that on the character. Now we capture the actor, review it on the digital version of the actor to really make sure we're preserving the truth of their performance and really getting there.
And what are you using to build the digital character? What software?
The digital character, so that is built using our sort of like standard, it's like a hybrid approach. I think ultimately the modeling and so on is all done through an acquisition process that comes from the scanning of the actor. Because we're only dealing with the actor there, we obviously try and everything that gets us to that truth is important, so we preserve everything from the original actor. So this digital Rosa, particularly the face is full resolution. It is Rosa scans essentially, and all of Rosa's face shapes and so on.
Okay, great. You also use Foundry products. Can you talk about how you use them and which ones?
Yeah, absolutely. So Alita was the first show at Weta where we used Katana. And we had been wanting to proceduralize our lighting pipeline for a while. And Katana's multi-shot workflow just seemed like a really good fit for it. So previously we would use Python code to replicate shot lighting amongst similar angles. And it'd be a real black box, and artists would suddenly go like, okay, that worked, but I have no idea why. Whereas using Katana, you'd set up a scene graph, like a particular recipe for a shot, switch one variable, and then you're looking at the same recipe, but with new assets from a different shot. And you can see how you can very, very quickly build that up across an entire sequence. And it really meant for us that we could be a lot more efficient with our approach. So we had scenes where there were entire sequences that were lit by just a single artist, which was kind of new for us. And obviously the other product that we used heavily was Nuke. All of our compositing at Weta is based around Nuke. The modular approach that Katana gave us was really a good complement to our existing modular approach to compositing, which is wrapped up by a tool we call Koba, which sits inside Nuke. But essentially, yeah, all of our compositing is done inside Nuke.
So if you had to point to a sequence or part of the film that was maybe the most challenging for you guys, something that you're most proud of?
Yes, well, I'll give you something interesting here. Sometimes the things that are hardest aren't necessarily the things that you really expect to be the hardest. There is a scene in Alita where it's one of the few scenes we had that didn't actually feature Alita herself. Kanuba, the motorball champ at the time, comes out of the bar and he's carrying two girls on his shoulders. These girls, their hair is draped all over Kanuba, the cloth's flapping around everywhere and so on. And Kanuba's only wearing his grey suit, so the actor Leonard Wu is only wearing his grey suit, so the only thing we kept from him was his face. And that's really, really difficult work. This was all a native stereo show, so there's no reconstruction. It's like it all has to work in stereo. And dealing with hair moving across CG and having to extract that from the background is really difficult. But to make matters worse, Leonard is a bit smaller than Kanuba actually is. Kanuba's a big cyborg, so you actually have to insert a cyborg that's larger than your actor in stereo, and having to basically pull these two girls who are like their hands and arms and hair and so on is flailing around everywhere, and basically rebuild that on top of a larger character. And honestly, perhaps the most painful thing about this is it's only on screen for about a minute. And so, in terms of runtime, it's very, very small, but we spent a lot of time getting that right. And that was certainly a real challenge amongst animation, compositing, like everyone really came together for that. And it's like a big cheer for us when we see that, but I don't think the general public would realize how much goes into that basically minute of screen time. So it's just a personal war story from me. There was some other stuff that was also challenging that obviously did involve Alita, but for me particularly, that's the thing that really sticks in my mind.
It's very cool. Anything else I haven't asked that you feel is important to share?
Some of the coupled simulation work that we did for the lake scene in Alita, I think, is particularly pretty cool. Previously for us, we would you'd simulate the water. Alita obviously has to go through the water, walk along the bottom of the lake, and then up into the spaceship. And previously, you'd simulate some water. You would then have to estimate how hair and cloth and skin should react when it's underwater. And now we have this coupled simulation solver, which we called Loki. I think we still call it Loki. And basically that allows us to simulate all of that at the same time. And it's not only powerful for sort of realism and cohesiveness reasons, it's also much more efficient because like a single artist can be in control of all of that. So I think it's really powerful in that regard as well.
It's very cool. Nick, thank you for taking the time.
Oh, pleasure.
Yeah, really nice to meet you.
Yeah, great.
Maybe before I let you go, what's the next thing you're working on?
I am currently, I can't say much about it, but I'm working on Avatar 2 right now.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.